Hello again, Disventure Camp. It's so good to see you again. Evidently, I need you for, money and stuff, so here we are. Being serious for a moment, I have no complaints about what I've seen and heard from Disventure Camp Season 4 so far. The environments are gorgeous, as always, and I'm really digging that purple sky. It looks really nice. So needless to say, I am very optimistic about Disventure Camp Season 4 when it does release. And clearly I'm not the only one, because I've seen people get very passionate about this season, and we're still a week from it actually coming out. We still don't have that much to go off of, but what we do have is very telling, and that's what we're going over today. I'm gonna tell you all what I think about this kooky cast of characters, and we're gonna see if I can predict what's gonna happen to them, and if not, I'll cry. But I won't be doing this alone, because you see, today we have a very special guest joining us on the Let's Gang YouTube channel. Everyone give a warm welcome to Keith Yeti. You all remember Keith Yeti. Some of you may recall that I made a poll 11 days ago asking about who you liked more between Ellie, Gabby, and Keith Yeti. What I didn't tell you is that the winner of this poll was going to receive an immaculate prize. Now I know Gabby has the highest percentage of votes, but no, see, we're actually going by golf rules, so that means that Keith Yeti has won the poll! I know this seems a little unfair, but I promise you this was the plan the entire time, and I can prove it.
Okay. What's the default user volume? Is it 100?
Yeah, I think so. Wife, I'm currently recording you right now. I need you to say something to the... Do you remember when I made that poll, and it was like Gabby versus Ellie versus Keith Yeti on my YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember when I told you a few weeks ago that the poll was actually, planning on it was gonna be whoever got last place was going to make a cameo appearance in the next Disventure Camp video I made? Do you remember when I told you that?
No.
Do you remember when I told you that?
Yes. Smiley face.
That is the yes, that is the right answer. That's good. See, so that was the plan all along. I did. My wife would not lie on my behalf. Tell him.
Babe, did Keith Yeti get last place and you just want to put him in a video?
Well, welcome to the channel, Keith Yeti. I hope you're ready to talk about some Disventure Camp, because that's what we're gonna do.
I love Disventure Camp. Let's get started.
Get started we shall. The first character we have to look at is Anastasia Sizova. If there are two things that we learn about Anastasia in her audition tape, it's that 1, she's a model from Russia, and 2, she seems to be very competitive. Even without hearing her voice, you can kinda just look at her and tell what she's about. Every elimination-based reality show has to have some sort of token mean popular girl, and for DC4, it looks like that's gonna be Anastasia. That might sound like I'm being critical of her, but I think Anastasia makes a very strong first impression. She's definitely going to be a villain, and for sure a very charismatic one, but how well is she actually going to place? If I had to take a guess, I would say probably not very well. Believe me, I would love almost nothing more than to see the pretty blonde girl be awesome and do really well. But given everyone else in this cast, it kinda seems weird to me that she might end up as the main villain. It doesn't sound right. I'm sure she'll play the game well, but I don't think I trust her to be very low-key. Take a gander at this screenshot that I took from the trailer. She is willing to throw hands 24/7 and has no plans to hide that. And I feel like that's probably gonna come around to bite her in the ass sooner rather than later. The farthest I see her going is probably around the late pre-merge, but I think she could get early merge if she's lucky. I think she's going to be a big problem causer in the pre-merge, but dip out about halfway through so that the other villains can take over. It probably won't be a long time with her, but I think it will be a fun time, and that's really all I can ask for. Keith Yeti, what are your thoughts on Anastasia?
Oh my god, please, give me Yuri.
Oh wow, Keith Yeti, I didn't take you to be a Yuri enjoyer.
I love women kissing so much. Oh my god, I want her to kiss Jade so badly. Please, oh my god.
Well, here's hoping, I guess. Next up, we have Ted Gordon, professional poker player. Now, given his profession, he's clearly very good at reading people and playing the odds, which is probably going to give him a leg up against his competition. Ted is older and more experienced than a lot of people in this cast, so I think he has it in him to make a deep run. On the other hand, he does strike me as the type of guy to put his foot in his mouth on more than one occasion, and yeah, that'll probably get him in trouble. I'm honestly not sure what kind of role he's going to play in the season, because characters like this are usually villains, but he doesn't quite come off that way to me. He's a silly guy with silly catchphrases. He can't be all bad. I think he's likely to be an anti-hero and probably spend a lot of time playing the middle. He says in his audition tape that he has a lot of wins under his belt, but also a lot of humiliating losses. And I think that'll define his run in Disventure Camp. No doubt a very smart guy who's probably gonna have a lot of smart moments, but also a lot of moments where he falls flat on his face and makes a fool of himself. I'd be shocked if he didn't at least merge. What do you think, Keith Yeti? What? Okay, I don't see what you're implying. That is clearly not Sans.
I strongly encourage you to take a closer look.
I mean, I guess I will, but I don't think... Oh. Oh no. Hannah Roxas is up next, but before we talk about her, we need to talk about literary theory. When discussing literary theory, there are a few different lenses that we can look through. One of these lenses is new criticism, which suggests that all relevant information to a fictional work will be self-contained within the work itself. Therefore, external sources should be ignored. Consequently, traditional criticism posits that the author themselves, in addition to the facts of the text, are integral to understanding the creative work as a whole. There's also structuralism, which
For the love of Amalie, stop lecturing me on boring nerd stuff. What's the point of this?
The point is that no matter what way I look at this, I just can't figure Hannah out. If we're going solely by the audition tape, then she's like an easy fifth boot, but I know this genre, and I think that's not right. She's fairly normal, she's conventionally attractive, and she's bisexual, so 100% she's gonna get like 6th place. Despite what I've said, I do still like Hannah so far. She has a very fun personality, and I can't wait to see more of her. There's just not a lot to go off of right now. And unfortunately, there is one glaring problem that I'm really worried is going to come into fruition. I think Hannah has a very strong chance of developing Rosa Maria syndrome. I swear to God, if the season comes out and Hannah is just a support character meant to mediate other people's arguments, still makes like top 5 or something, and then everyone in the cast is like, oh my god, Hannah, you're like the best person ever and shit, I'm going to kill someone. Thankfully, there's enough in this audition tape to deter me from believing that this will happen. The main thing that gives me hope for Hannah is that it seems like Disventure Camp is going to be a pretty big journey for her. Her lack of knowledge about Disventure Camp is one of the first things we learn about her, so she probably has the least experience of the entire cast. And that means there's a lot of ways for her character to go. She could be a plucky underdog, she could be a surprise twist villain, she could set a barn on fire, any of those things and more. The door is wide open. But all that being said, I wonder what Keith Yeti thinks of Hannah.
Life is good.
Next up, we have Wayne. That's not his name. Next up, we have Riley Dunbar from the Mysteries of Kruger. Fuck, that's not him either. Next up, we have legendary total drama YouTuber Spory? Close enough. Logan Bell is an Olympic athlete with a bronze medal in swimming and a gold medal in yaoi fanfiction. He's very kind, he's very humble, and although he doesn't seem to be the brightest bulb in the box, fucking look at him. This man has 4 brain cells maximum. 2 for swimming, 1 for Christmas, and 1 to remember what he had for breakfast that morning. I'm not sure how much of Season 4 is going to be spent near and around the water, but if it's a lot, then Logan has a pretty good shot of making a deep run. I mean, all things considered, he's probably going to be good at most of the physical challenges, but I digress. So far, I really like Logan. He's very charming, he's very funny, and that's really all he needs to do. As for how he's going to place overall, that one is a little harder to answer. Given what he has to offer physically, I don't see a scenario where he gets voted out in the pre-merge. Unless there's a pick a number challenge, I see Logan really helping out his team and making a lot of friends. So I think early merge is where he's headed, but I could always be wrong. I feel like Logan is going to be a character that the creators enjoy writing for, and so he's going to make it farther based on that. I hope his story is pretty lighthearted and it doesn't get super duper angsty, because that really didn't work out well last time. But if he's consistently as good as he is in his audition tape, I think he's gonna be great. Zade Hakim is probably going to be eliminated way earlier than he should, and that makes me very sad. I know he's only the 5th character on the list, but honestly I think Zade is probably my favorite character revealed for the new cast. He's got an awkward charm to him and he's a total sweetheart to boot. What's not to like? I just want to see him do well and get that house for his mom, but unfortunately I'm almost certain that's not gonna happen. When Zade says that he wants to play a low-key game and not rock the boat too much, I hear, hey, I'm not gonna get that much screen time. Which I hate, because he is probably the single most attractive character that Odd Nations has ever created. My instincts are telling me that he's going pre-merge, but I sincerely hope that I am wrong about that. Zade has a very strong introduction, and I think once the series begins properly, he's gonna be just as good. Keith Yeti, would you like to say something nice about our good friend Zade?
Can he take me to Waffle House?
I am nigh positive that if he were able to cook something for you, he would make something that is significantly better than whatever Waffle House could afford you.
That's gonna be a deal breaker for me. You can eat him.
Okay, fine, I will. Tristan Vick.
Papyrus.
No! Tristan Vick is a character that I am very conflicted on. Now, if you've seen my last video, which I know you have, because why wouldn't you have seen my last video? I put a lot of work into that one. Then you would know that I have an affinity for goth characters. And while Tristan is nowhere near as cool as Risotto Nero, I have to say that I think this color palette is pretty cool. Now, right off the bat, I feel the need to mention that Tristan has just, like, the best voice. Easily the best vocal performance of any of the new characters. The delivery is really good and it sells the character very well. I feel like Tristan's locked in for merge, right? 4 men, 4 women, 1 Tristan. I don't know, that just kind of makes sense to me. There's a lot to like here, and I'm really excited to see what they do in the series. Alas, there is one problem on the horizon that I'm gonna call in advance. I think that Tristan is going to end up with a very annoying fanbase. Given the similarities to Gabby, I'm already sensing that people are gonna be not normal about them, and I don't like that. Even still, I'm really looking forward to this character. If everything else about them is mid, I think the vocal performance is still gonna go a long way in carrying them forward. Also, trans rights. Marissa Zulu is going to enlist in the military. She also has a cool hat. Look, there is a lot that I like about Marissa's audition. I like her down-to-earth personality, and I like the fact that Disventure Camp is giving a muscular female character a chance to shine. Both because we don't get enough of that character type in this community, and because, oh my god. But compared to some of the other auditions, Marissa has a lot less to work with. The foundation is very solid. I'm just not seeing the vision here. I'm guessing she's probably gonna go out in the pre-merge, with some circumstances causing her elimination akin to Lil. Given how many twinks have made it far in Disventure Camp, I think Marissa making it far in this season might balance that out a little bit. I'm putting my faith in you, Odd Nations. Please don't let me down. Otherwise, I'll send Keith Yeti to feast on your bones. Amalie Pierre is one of the characters I'm most excited to see in the show proper. Pretty much every moment of screen time that we get of her presents her as this ruthless businesswoman who's probably not going to be a team player and going to treat people poorly, and I think she will be that way at first, but I'm going to call Disventure Camp's bluff. I think she's going to get a redemption arc. Amalie is a woman who has worked her ass off to climb the corporate ladder, and she's no doubt faced a lot of adversity along the way. I mean, ignoring the obvious bridezillas, she's probably had to supervise people who can't or won't do their jobs properly, and has inevitably faced sexism as a woman in a position of power. Are you really gonna sit here and tell me that she doesn't deserve a break of some kind? Now, Odd Nations could very well go the route of making her a one-dimensional bossy lady, you know, if they want to be boring. But I think that with the power of friendship and kindness, Amalie may start to open up to the other contestants, and that'll help her become a more well-rounded person. If she can befriend someone who's on her wavelength, then I think that she could make it really far into the game, and honestly, I really hope this is the case. Because the alternative is that she's just Carol 2.0, except, you know, French. I don't know, Keith Yeti, what do you think?
I love You are as radiant as the blue sky on a spring morning. Your profound beauty is matched only by your indomitable will. You are the light in the darkness, the fault in our scars, and the beacon for all to aspire to. A woman as dignified as you need not humble a simple creature such as myself. But if you will humor me, I have but one request. Would you please skip?
Now, I don't seem to recall the episode of Tom Jake where Jake cheated on Tom with Saul Goodman, but here we are. Hello, gay twink number 3. You are in great company. Tragically, it seems like Benji has some game sense, so we're gonna be stuck with him for a while. Yeah, I really am not excited for Benji. Odd Nations has a few writing habits that I really do not like, and if those habits are going to manifest in any character, it would be Benji. It's not like his audition tape is egregious. There's some good stuff here, although there isn't really anything that grabs my attention. Objectively, it looks like he's gonna do pretty well, but I honestly think it would be better off if he went pre-merge. I don't think Benji is going to challenge the status quo in any way, and I don't think that's a good thing. If we get to the actual season and he's not just this season's version of Aiden or Jake, I'll come back and admit that I was wrong about him. But for the time being, this dude is fucking stupid! Now, if Benji is one of your favorite characters, then that's perfectly fine. I respect your opinion, but that doesn't change the fact that he's a big, dumb fucking nerd. Keith Yeti, show him what we do to nerds around here.
Get like nerd, you stupid nerd.
Natalia's audition is good, I just have one problem with it.
I can't talk right now, I'm at the audition. Wait, what? What do you mean you leaked the new Rhea Sharma movie on Instagram Live?
I beg your pardon? You're gonna sit here and tell me that Rhea still has a career after All Stars? Disventure Camp is one of the most popular shows in this world. How the fuck has she not been cancelled yet? New Rhea Sharma movie. Miss me with that shit. Natalia Baez absolutely rules. I love her voice, I love her design, and I really like her sense of humor. Given her job as a publicist, I think she's going to be paired with a villain once the season starts, and she's going to work on improving their image so they don't get immediately eliminated. I was initially worried that she might be a candidate to be this season's Rosa Maria, but then I realized, oh, she has a personality, she's fine. Natalia to me represents the anarchical bliss of being a trans woman. And as such, I'm hoping she gets up to some crazy antics, because I genuinely think that she could end people's careers if she wanted to. I think she's a lock for merge because quite frankly, it would be dumb if she didn't make it there. Back me up, Keith Yeti.
Smash, 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 smash.
Okay, he's busy, let's move on. Linda Anderson is a housewife from Minnesota with a love for reality TV. Every single part of her audition tape, and every piece of footage we have of her, really, is pointing to her as the main villain of the season. And once again, I'm going to call their bluff. I think she's a red herring. She's definitely going to be an antagonist of some kind, but I don't think she's gonna stay for the long run. Let me play these two clips side by side so you can see what I mean.
Acting like the innocent housewife will put me in the driver's seat. Reality shows are my guilty pleasure, and I know how ruthless they can be.
These assholes are really buying into the story that I'm a helpless little girl. In the end, all this works for my benefit.
These two clips have the exact same energy. So are we really meant to believe that Disventure Camp is going to have two main antagonists that are cut from nearly the same cloth?
I mean, maybe?
No, I don't think we are.
Oh.
So here's the deal. I am predicting that not only is Linda not going to be the main villain, I think she's going to be the first boo. I believe she is going to overplay her hand in glorious fashion, and it's going to be amazing. Now, the idea of a Minnesotan housewife actually being a big threat is a good idea, and I won't be upset if that's what comes to pass. But the idea of a Minnesotan housewife thinking she's a big threat and then failing spectacularly is just, I think that's really funny. Regardless of what happens, I really like Linda. I think she's so funny, and I can't wait to see what happens with her. What about you, Keith Yeti? Do you want to, like, call her a MILF or something before we move on?
That is a married woman. I would never stoop so low as to hold another man. I will respectfully pass.
Aight, suit yourself. I think one of the candidates for the actual main villain of this season is Isabelle Carboni, our next character. I gotta say, I really like the choice to make her an influencer. That saves her from falling into a lot of tropes that these types of characters normally fall into. I don't think I need to explain what she's all about, do I? We know she's Christian. But how Christian is she? Like, is she cool with people regardless of gender identity and sexuality, or does she rock with the Westboro people? That is the kind of uncertainty that makes Isabelle so interesting. I had her pegged as a merger pretty much the moment I saw her, and now that I've gotten to know her character a little better, I think she's going to start a cult. She wouldn't be the first person to try something like that, and given how Odd Nations has taken inspiration from Survivor before, I think this is within the realm of possibility. Granted, that storyline might not go super well with some people. I believe Isabelle already got into controversy because people were shipping her with other characters, and that's not a thing you can do with nuns, so slippery slope, I guess. The point is, I like pretty much everything in her audition tape, and I think she's pretty cool. Unfortunately, Keith Yeti won't be able to share his thoughts on Isabelle because her crucifix hurt his eyes and he needs some time to recover. So we're just gonna move on to the next character, who I've actually heard really good things about from some of my close friends. So I hope he's really good.
Oh my god, this fucking guy!
I don't... What am I meant to say here? This is just Alec again, but white. Spencer Lawrence is a British smart guy with glasses, and honestly not much else. He's not an exact one-to-one of Alec. If anything, it seems like they just took Alec and Nick and just fused them together. Sour Guts must have someone at Odd Nations held at gunpoint, because that is the only way that I could see this happening. We have had conversations about Spencer. This is a character made in a lab for them specifically. I, however, have a different opinion. I've had more than enough of Brian Griffin in Disventure Camp All-Stars, thank you, and historically, replacing him comes with diminishing returns, so I'm good.
Why are you being such a meanie? Is this really necessary?
Probably not, but I think this is just more fun than calmly explaining why I think Spencer is redundant.
Fair enough. Get lacquered, you stupid nerd. By the way, I ate his legs, that's why he had no legs.
Up next, we have retired basketball coach and gay dad, Richard Miller. He's the old guy of this cast, and he has a lot of traits that are reminiscent of Miriam and Connor, but also puts his own spin on things. If your parents ever forced you to play a sport as a kid, you've definitely met someone like Richard. Richard is probably going to aim for a leadership position on his team, but as for whether or not he can keep that position remains to be seen. I could see him being a stickler for the rules on more than one occasion, and I imagine that would probably make some of his teammates upset with him. Not to mention, his age is probably gonna hold him back at least a little bit. But then again, he seems like such a positive, cheery guy, I'm thinking he can stick around for at least a little bit. He's probably going out in the pre-merge, but I think Richard is really funny, and I'd like it if he got a few moments to shine here and there. He's not super high on my tier list right now, but I think once the series begins and we get to see him in action, that could very well change. A sick part of me kinda hopes he gets medevac by breaking his hip, but we'll see what happens. Keith Yeti, what is your commentary on Richard? Okay. Up next is Ivy Berkey, an actress from Hungary, and oh my god, I love her so much. She's such a freaking dork, and I can't help but be endeared to her. Ivy is obviously a bit scatterbrained, and I can already see that that's gonna cause her trouble when the season starts. She seems prone to making a few airheaded mistakes, but she's clearly very charismatic and has boundless enthusiasm, so I think that'll probably help her navigate the game. Once again, she has a lovely design, and I really like her voice, so props to Odd Nations for that. I'm starting to sense a theme here. I think all the women in this cast are really strong. The guys are great too, and so is Tristan, but I think the ladies have him beat here. And Ivy is a shining example of that. It's too bad she's almost definitely a pre-merge boot. She seems destined to fall into the role of comic relief, and in Disventure Camp, that is a death sentence. Still, even though my expectations are set reasonably low, I'm still looking forward to see what Ivy can bring to the table. And I think that's about all I have to say on her. Keith Yeti?
I can also do anything. Behold.
You're not doing anything.
I was acting as Ashley in All Stars.
Jade Tonko is probably the only character in Disventure Camp who knows what a siphonophore is, so therefore she immediately wins like 10 cool points. I don't have too many ideas about who's going to make Final 3, but if anyone was a lock to make it there, I think it would be Jade. She's very confident in the game she wants to play, but she doesn't come across as arrogant like some of the other people we've gone over already. There's like no shot that she doesn't merge, right? I would be genuinely flabbergasted if this wasn't the case. Gameplay aside, everything about Jade's presentation is on point. I'm glad that her vitiligo wasn't a huge point in her audition because honestly, I would have had a problem if it was. That being said, Jade has a lot of interesting elements to her character, but she has her own personality outside of them. Needless to say, I think Jade is pretty rad.
I have nothing else to add. I feel the same way. I love Jade.
But how much do you love Jade?
I love Jade more than you love Jasmine.
I don't believe you.
You fucking doubt my love of women. I swear to God I will have your head on the pie by the
Diego Olivo is our penultimate character, and honestly, one who I'm quite partial to. He doesn't have any big character quirks that endear me to him, nor do I think he's going to be this super mega character who changes the way Disventure Cam works. I like his vibe. His positivity is infectious. Just like listening to this guy talk about the things he likes makes me happy, and it makes me want to see him do well. The problem is, the longer Diego stays in the game, the more likely it is that people get along. And people rarely ever get along in Disventure Camp. And judging by the trailers and the intro, his closest bond is probably going to be Spencer, who I think has the shelf life of milk, so I am not optimistic. But given that Diego is probably the only Disventure Camp character to know what a Lechwe is, I'm rooting for him either way. His vibes are simply immaculate, so the further he makes it into the series, the more likely it is that the season turns out good. That does get me thinking though, Keith Yeti, what kind of animal are you?
I believe I'm one part greyhound, one part cuttlefish, and one part terror from the abyss. But I hope that I am secretly a dinosaur.
Let's move on to our last character. The final character we have to look at is Alessio Castelli, and I have never seen a more obvious early boot in my entire life. My man could not give less of a crap about Disventure Camp. His entire motivation for wanting to join the show in the first place is just because he wants some inspiration for his artwork. He doesn't get along well with others, he clearly isn't interested in what the show has to offer him, it just seems like he doesn't really want to be here all that bad. The only positive trait we get of Alessio is that he paints kinda good, and the absolute most we get out of his strategy is that maybe if he paints something really good, people will want to keep him around. Which he can clearly do. I mean, look at this amazing artwork. If I were watching this show, I'd want to put that in a museum. Needless to say, Alessio's goose is already cooked. He's got no shot, he's got no friends, he's got pretty much no chance of making it past episode 2. Which is why I'm choosing Alessio as my winner pick. Because if Alessio does end up as an early boot like he's geared up to be, then you know, fuck it, whatever, I guessed wrong, that happens all the time. But considering the vast majority of the community has him pegged as an early boot, if by some miracle he does win, I will be one of the few people to honestly say that I called it. I also just think he's really funny, and I think it'd be a waste to get rid of him so soon, so I'm hoping he gets at least a few episodes under his belt. So my beloved viewers, it's up to you. I want to see some Alessiums in my comment section. Maybe with your help, Alessio will have the motivation to create the most beautiful painting ever seen by mortal eyes, and everyone else will just give him the money. Keith Yeti, please tell everyone how awesome Alessio is and why he deserves to win Disventure Camp.
Get like you stupid nerd. I think I broke the lighter.
And that's every contestant we have to go over. Here's my tier list at the moment. I don't think I'm completely sold on everyone being in specific placements, but this is just a general overview of how I feel. And here is generally where I think everyone is gonna place. And with all of that being said, I think we're done here. I'm really excited for Disventure Camp Season 4. I know the last season that we had wasn't so great, but I really think this one looks good, sounds good, and the characters give me hope. I really think that Odd Nations can deliver something great here, but I guess we won't know for sure until Saturday. With that being said, this video has come to an end. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you want to hear me talk about something that isn't Disventure Camp related, I made a video not too long ago that I would really appreciate it if you checked out. Until then, I'll see you all next time. Bye!
Hey guys, it's me, Keith Yeti. Thanks for watching the video. Aren't you so glad I won the poll?